Yo, guys, welcome back again today. Today, we're going to be talking about the African kingdom that was established in Brazil. This kingdom, the Quilombo of Palmares, was the biggest free African settlement established by runaway slaves. This free settlement would go on to inspire more settlements to pop up all over the state of Pernambuco. These settlements would go on to join forces and create a kingdom or a confederation of quilombos. Each settlement, or quilombo, would be ran by one of the Palmares king's family members. During and even before this time, Africans from different ethnic groups from Africa, especially from modern-day country of Angola, would escape into the jungles and create communities. These communities would become so big that the communities would begin to raid cities inland. These Maroons also did the same as other Maroons or enslaved Africans did, such as escaping and fighting back colonial powers. Other Maroon communities in the Americas, such as the Jamaican Maroons, Haitian Maroons, and the African American Maroons in the South, all achieved many similar goals. Brazil at the time was divided into 14 different slices of land. Each one of these lands would be assigned a governor by the Portuguese Empire. One of the biggest states out of the 14 different lands was Pernambuco. Pernambuco was very known for its slave farms. This is where most of the money came from in this state. The mix of social classes within the Africans were very interesting. From normal citizens of an African kingdom to royalty, no one was excused. This kingdom structure would carry over when escaped slaves created their free societies in the lands of Brazil. The first free area founded was Palmares in northeast Brazil. This settlement would have different African ethnic groups with similar goals. These communities usually always had a leader from Angola and Congo area, but over time, some whites and Amerindians were assimilated into the community. The free spirit of free men started to spread, and over 200 settlements would arise by 1630. Leaders from the Maroon free communities would use the land, its food, and resources to feed and stay in power over its peoples. These leaders would use their knowledge of growing fruit in the forest back in Africa to do the same in Brazil. This would make the communities self-sufficient. This would be a threat to the Portuguese. The Portuguese would go on to try and destroy the Maroons. The Portuguese army would set a bounty of 100 gold coins for every escaped slave that was returned to the plantation. Janga was the first established leader of the kingdom. He was enslaved and was believed to be captured in the Kingdom of Congo during the war with the Portuguese in Africa. He is also believed to come from royalty that was enslaved and brought to Brazil by the Portuguese. Him, his mother, brother, and sister were all made slaves on the plantation of Santaria in the state of Pernambuco in northwest Brazil. He would escape slavery in Brazil and rose up to being the king of the biggest free slave settlement in the mountains. In retaliation against the Dutch and the Portuguese, Palmares established its own army. Palmares was very much the biggest threat to Portugal. Being the biggest settlement, which would turn into an African kingdom within Brazil. This kingdom would have a king, citizens who kneeled to him with palm leaves, a capital with a royal enclave called Mococo, and the recognition from the Portuguese that Palmares was a state within its territory. King Janga had 3 wives, a palace, guards, ministers, and devoted subjects. It must be noted that some Quilombo settlements had treaties with the Portuguese in which they exchanged goods for protection. The Palmares, on the other hand, never accepted a treaty and was continuously fighting with the Portuguese in its army invasions. Until one day, this almost changed. The Portuguese wanted the king to move to a valley and out of their current location. Zumbi, the leader of another Quilombo settlement, would eventually oppose King Zumba of Palmares. This would be due to King Zumba deciding to take the treaty offered by the Portuguese. The governor of the state of Pernambuco was tired of the conflict with the free Africans. On one side, the Portuguese saw the idea of thousands of free slaves as a threat to ending and nailing an ideology into enslaved Africans on sugar plantations. On the other hand, the Portuguese did in a way not want to go to war with the kingdom due to economics. The kingdom produced so much food and goods that selling or trading with the Europeans was lucrative to the Portuguese in Brazil. The treaty had 4 main points. For the conflict to stop, all the former slaves that escaped would stay and be considered free by the Portuguese. The free Africans would have to move far to the valley, and last, they would submit to the Portuguese rule. King Zumba thought of this as a victory for free Africans. Yet others, such as Zumbi, did not like the idea of his uncle doing this. Manuel Lopez in a Quilombo settlement would go on to try and capture Zumbi and his settlement. Zumbi would lead, fought, and won against every Portuguese offensive. The next governor of the state would be Pedro Almeida. It is believed that someone within the king's kingdom poisoned him for agreeing on the treaty with the Portuguese. Some of the peoples within the kingdom would head for the valley at the same time, but unfortunately, they were caught and enslaved on the way. Zumbi would go on to cut the Portuguese off, also while fighting with the Dutch as well. He would refuse the treaty and ask for the freedom of the settlement of all black slaves around Brazil. The Portuguese would refuse and actually made this treaty up as a trap to kill and free black people. The king would die and in 1680 would take over and become king. Zumbi was the leader of non-slaves and the king of free men. Zumbi was born in 1655 in the countryside of Pernambuco. Born a free man, he was captured and he was given to a missionary around the age of 6 and was baptized soon after. He would be taught Latin and Portuguese by Antonio Melo and help with daily mass. The missionary tried to convert Zumbi, but he would escape in 1670 at the age of 15. He would go on to return to his birthplace. By his early 20s, he was respected as a military strategist and was very cunning in battle. In the 1600s, the Dutch and Portuguese would fight with one another over land. The Portuguese wanted, once and for all, to get rid of the kingdom. So in 1694, the Portuguese colonies set up a big campaign, recruited mercenaries in its army to destroy Palmares. Domingos Velho and Vera Melo would go on to invade and destroy the kingdom. King Zumbi and some citizens managed to escape, but was soon caught. The Portuguese were also aided by them capturing a Palmares general and torturing him. This general would reveal where Zumbi was hiding. The Portuguese would go on to kill him. The Portuguese would disfigure his body and do gruesome things to it, preserved it in salt, and sent his body to plantations to show he was not immortal to other slaves. This would not stop other free settlements from arising. This would be the beginning of the freedom for Afro-Brazilians, in which most can be found in the city of Salvador in Brazil. So yo guys, today we learned about an African kingdom, a confederation of free settlements that was started in Brazil by Africans that were enslaved and then became free. So yo guys, please like all my social medias, which is Afric Network, which is TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Facebook, Snapchat, each one teach one. Always love each other, always learn from each other. And until next time, peace to Brazil. One love.